Roger Federer just handed Filipino tennis sensation Alex Eala a training package worth $1 million. The moment cameras captured this unprecedented gesture, the internet exploded. What you're about to discover isn't just another celebrity charity story. This is a calculated investment in talent that reveals how tennis legends identify and cultivate the next generation of champions. The details of what Federer actually provided, why he chose Eala specifically, and what this means for her trajectory will change everything you thought you knew about how elite athletes are really made.
This is Roger Federer's Rolex collection. He shocked the world last year on center court at Wimbledon when he wore this Rolex Daytona with orange sapphires. Such a stunning piece. This watch will set you back almost $360,000. Of the legendary 8 times he won Wimbledon, he wore this two-tone Rolex Datejust. It's actually called the Wimbledon, so can't get much more fitting than that. You can find this watch for around 16 grand. At one of his other wins, he wore this Ever Rose Gold Rolex Day-Date with baguette diamonds. Here's one you could buy for 50 grand. At the Met Gala this year, he wore this Rolex 1908 that if you're lucky enough to get one at retail will cost you around $23,000. In this shot, he's wearing a green dial Rolex Oyster Perpetual that you can find for around 11 grand. He also wears one with a yellow dial that you can find in new condition for around 21,000. Here he wears a Rolex GMT Master 2 on a Jubilee bracelet, otherwise nicknamed the Sprite. You can find these for around 24,000. When he won the Miami Open, he wore this blue Rolex Skydweller.
Alex Eala stood courtside at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca when Roger Federer walked through the gates unannounced. The 19-year-old Filipina, already making waves as Southeast Asia's most promising tennis prospect, had no indication that the 8-time Wimbledon champion had been tracking her progress for months. Federer approached with his characteristically understated demeanor, but what he carried wasn't subtle. A comprehensive training partnership valued at 7 figures that would reshape Eala's entire professional journey. The package Federer presented wasn't cash in an envelope. This was strategic infrastructure. Full access to his Team 8 management resources, personalized coaching from his longtime mentor, Severin Lüthi, sports science support from the team that maintained Federer's legendary durability into his 40s, and integration into the training network that produced his own remarkable consistency. Eala's reaction, captured on multiple phones, showed genuine shock. Not the manufactured surprise of scripted moments, but the raw disbelief of an athlete who had been grinding in relative obscurity, suddenly receiving validation from the sport's living icon. Within 6 hours, the footage dominated social media across 3 continents. Tennis fans in Manila celebrated a national hero receiving international recognition. European sports analysts dissected the strategic implications of Federer's investment. American sports business reporters highlighted the unprecedented nature of a retired champion allocating this level of resources to an emerging talent outside traditional powerhouse nations. The virality wasn't just about a generous gift. It exposed hunger for narratives where excellence recognizes and elevates excellence, regardless of geography or politics. Federer's motivation runs deeper than philanthropy. His post-retirement mission involves identifying athletes who combine technical brilliance with mental resilience. Players who demonstrate the capacity to compete at the highest level while representing the sport with grace under pressure. Eala's resume checked every box. 2022 U.S. Open Juniors champion, first Filipino to win a Grand Slam title at any level, steady progression through professional rankings despite limited funding compared to players from wealthier tennis nations, and a playing style that emphasizes strategic intelligence over pure power. The $1 million valuation accounts for multiple components. Direct coaching fees from elite-level mentors command premium rates. Lüthi's expertise alone represents substantial investment. Sports science support, including biomechanical analysis, nutrition optimization, injury prevention protocols, and mental performance coaching, requires ongoing specialist involvement. Travel to elite training facilities, tournament scheduling, coordination, equipment partnerships, and media training all factor into comprehensive athlete development. Federer essentially provided Eala with the support infrastructure that typically only players from affluent backgrounds or with major sponsorship deals can access. What makes this moment historically significant isn't just the financial scale. Federer chose to spotlight a player from a nation where tennis operates on shoestring budgets, where facilities lag decades behind European and American standards, where promising talents often fade into obscurity because they lack resources to compete on the professional circuit. By selecting Eala, Federer sent an unmistakable message. Excellence exists everywhere, and those with resources have responsibility to ensure talent isn't wasted due to circumstance. The viral moment represents more than generosity. It's a statement about what tennis should become. But here's what nobody is telling you about why Federer chose this exact moment and this specific player. Roger Federer doesn't make impulsive decisions. Every strategic move throughout his career demonstrated meticulous calculation, from shot selection to career longevity planning. His choice to invest in Alex Eala follows the same pattern. This wasn't random benevolence, but recognition of specific qualities that align with his vision for tennis's future. Understanding what Federer identified in Eala reveals the criteria that separate genuine championship potential from fleeting promise. Eala's technical foundation impressed Federer's analytical mind. Her single-handed backhand, increasingly rare in women's tennis, demonstrates classical technique that Federer himself championed throughout his career. She generates pace through timing and leverage rather than muscular force, allowing for greater shot variety and sustainability over marathon matches. Her serve motion shows biomechanical efficiency that reduces injury risk while maintaining effectiveness. Her movement patterns reveal elite anticipation. She positions herself not where the ball currently is, but where superior tactics dictate it will be. These fundamentals indicate coaching quality and intellectual approach to the game that cannot be manufactured through physical gifts alone. Beyond technical skill, Eala's mental architecture captured Federer's attention. Her performance under pressure, particularly during her U.S. Open Juniors Championship run, displayed composure that typically requires years to develop. She saved match points in multiple rounds, demonstrating the psychological resilience that separates champions from talented players who crumble when stakes elevate. Her post-match interviews reveal self-awareness and analytical capability. She discusses strategic adjustments, opponent tendencies, and her own developmental needs with maturity beyond her years. Federer recognized that mental toughness combined with technical excellence creates the foundation for sustained success. The Filipino factor amplifies the investment's impact exponentially. Eala represents potentially transformative influence for tennis in Southeast Asia, a region with massive population but minimal professional tennis presence. If she achieves Grand Slam success, the ripple effects could generate millions of new fans, inspire facility development across the Philippines and neighboring nations, and create commercial opportunities that dwarf the initial investment. Federer understands sports business. His Team 8 management company has generated substantial returns through strategic athlete partnerships. Eala represents both humanitarian mission and savvy business positioning in an untapped market. Her existing achievements provide validation beyond potential. The U.S. Open Juniors title wasn't luck. She dominated a competitive field that included players with superior funding and training resources. Her professional ranking trajectory shows consistent improvement despite competing with limited support compared to peers from tennis-rich nations. She's already defeated higher-ranked opponents, demonstrating the capacity to perform when expectations are low and pressure is minimal. These results indicate her ceiling remains far above her current level, suggesting that proper resources will unlock capabilities currently constrained by circumstance. Federer also recognized timing. Eala sits at the precise developmental stage where comprehensive support generates maximum impact. Too early and physical maturation remains incomplete, too late, and technical habits and mental patterns become difficult to reshape. At 19, with professional experience, but still forming her identity as a player, she can integrate elite-level training methodologies while maintaining the hunger and coachability that sometimes diminishes once players achieve initial success. Federer's intervention arrives at the optimal moment to accelerate her trajectory without creating dependency or entitlement. The training program Federer designed for Eala contains elements that have never been publicly discussed until now. Breaking down Federer's million-dollar investment reveals sophisticated athlete development that most tennis fans never see. This wasn't a ceremonial check presentation. It's comprehensive infrastructure designed to eliminate every obstacle between Eala's current ranking and Grand Slam contention. Each component addresses specific developmental needs identified through analysis of her game, her competition schedule, and the path required to compete consistently at the highest level. Severin Lüthi's involvement represents the investment's cornerstone. As Federer's coach for over 15 years, Lüthi understands championship-level preparation with unmatched depth. His approach emphasizes strategic flexibility over rigid systems, teaching players to analyze opponents in real time and adjust tactics mid-match. For Eala, this means developing the chess player mentality that allowed Federer to remain competitive as his physical dominance declined. Lüthi's fee structure for elite coaching typically exceeds $200,000 annually. Federer secured multi-year commitment, ensuring continuity that produces exponential improvement over fragmented short-term coaching relationships. Sports science integration addresses the physical demands of professional tennis. Pierre Paganini, who managed Federer's fitness from teenager to 40-year-old champion, brings biomechanical expertise that prevents injuries before they occur. His protocols focus on movement efficiency, reducing unnecessary stress on joints while maximizing power transfer. For Eala, this means building durability to withstand 30-week seasons and multi-year campaigns without the chronic injuries that derail promising careers. The sports science package includes regular biomechanical assessments, personalized strength programming, recovery optimization, and nutrition strategies tailored to tournament schedules. Standard market value for elite sports science support approaches $150,000 annually. Tournament travel expenses consume massive resources for emerging professionals. Flights, accommodations, practice court fees, stringing costs, and miscellaneous expenses add up across 30-plus weeks annually. Federer's package covers these logistics, allowing Eala to compete in optimal tournaments for ranking progression, rather than accepting inferior events due to budget constraints. This strategic tournament selection accelerates development by ensuring consistent competition against appropriately challenging opponents. Estimated annual value, $100,000 to $150,000. Equipment partnerships and media training round out the comprehensive package. Quality equipment access ensures Eala competes with optimal tools, while media training prepares her for the scrutiny that accompanies rising prominence. Federer learned through experience that managing public attention requires skill separate from on-court performance. Early media training protects young players from missteps that damage reputation or create unnecessary pressure. Combined value of these components, approximately $50,000 annually. The total reaches 7 figures when calculated across the multi-year commitment Federer provided. This isn't charity that creates dependency. It's strategic investment removing financial obstacles so talent can flourish without compromise. What happened in the first training session reveals Federer's actual vision for Eala's development. Social media eruption following the Federer-Eala moment exposed dynamics that transcended typical viral sports content. The response wasn't just enthusiastic, it revealed deep hunger for narratives where excellence operates outside conventional power structures, where established legends invest in potential rather than protect their own legacy positions. Analyzing the specific patterns of virality illuminates what actually resonates with global audiences in 2025's fragmented media landscape. Filipino social media exploded first, with the story dominating trending topics across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram within 2 hours. But the response wasn't merely nationalistic celebration. Filipino tennis fans and sports commentators articulated sophisticated appreciation for what this investment represents. Posts highlighted decades of Filipino athletes competing with minimal resources, the significance of a Swiss legend recognizing Asian talent, and the potential ripple effects for tennis development across Southeast Asia. The emotional resonance came from validation, confirmation that talent exists outside traditional tennis powers, that geographical origin shouldn't determine access to opportunity, that barriers can be dismantled by those with resources and vision. European tennis media took different angles, focusing on Federer's post-retirement strategy and the business implications of cultivating markets beyond established territories. Analysts compared this move to other athlete-led development initiatives, noting that Federer's approach emphasized comprehensive support rather than token gestures. The European response revealed sophisticated understanding of how sports business evolves, recognition that tennis's growth requires expanding beyond its traditional base, that emerging markets need successful representatives to generate sustained engagement, that strategic investment in talent from underrepresented nations create commercial opportunities that benefit the entire sport. American sports business reporters highlighted the investment's financial architecture, calculating returns based on potential sponsorship value, media rights in emerging markets, and Eala's trajectory if she achieves top 20 ranking. These analyses revealed that Federer's generosity also represents shrewd positioning. Team 8 gains first-mover advantage in the Filipino market, establishes relations with Asian sponsors seeking tennis partnerships, and demonstrates values alignment that enhances brand positioning globally. The American response showed that philanthropy and profit aren't mutually exclusive, that investments in talent create value beyond immediate financial return. Unexpected responses came from non-tennis athletes and entertainment figures who amplified the story to audiences beyond traditional tennis fans. Basketball players, musicians, and actors shared the moment, often adding commentary about mentorship, responsibility of success, and the importance of investing in potential rather than hoarding resources. The viral cascade demonstrated how certain narratives transcend their original context to become vehicles for broader conversations about opportunity, equity, and responsibility. Criticism emerged predictably, but revealed interesting fault lines. Some questioned why Federer didn't invest in Swiss players or distribute resources to multiple athletes rather than concentrating on one recipient. These critiques exposed competing philosophies about how limited resources should be allocated, whether spreading support broadly serves more people, or whether concentrated investment in exceptional talent creates success that inspires more effectively than incremental help for many. The debate itself amplified engagement, driving the story to remain trending for days rather than hours. The training facility where Eala will prepare contains technology that's transforming how elite athletes develop. North America and Australia, nations with extensive tennis infrastructure, club systems, and pathways connecting junior development to professional success. Eala's elevation challenges this paradigm, potentially catalyzing transformation across Asia, where massive populations have remained disconnected from professional tennis despite growing interest in the sport. The Philippines' tennis landscape operates with severe resource constraints compared to traditional powerhouses. Public courts are scarce, coaching quality is inconsistent, and the pathway from promising junior to professional competitor remains poorly defined. Most talented Filipino players abandon tennis for lack of support, pursuing education or careers rather than gambling on sports dreams that seem unrealistic given systemic obstacles. Eala's success, amplified by Federer's endorsement, has potential to reshape these dynamics by demonstrating that Filipino players can compete at the highest level when provided appropriate resources. Economic impact from a successful Filipino Grand Slam contender could transform tennis development across the nation. Sponsorship dollars follow success. Companies seeking association with national heroes invest in facilities, coaching, and junior development programs. Government support typically emerges only after athletes achieve international recognition, but once political will is activated, funding for systemic infrastructure can materialize rapidly. Eala's trajectory, if it reaches Grand Slam semifinals or better, would likely trigger investment cascades that benefit thousands of young Filipino players currently lacking access to quality coaching and facilities. Broader Asian implications extend beyond the Philippines. China has invested billions in tennis infrastructure, seeking Grand Slam champions with limited return despite producing top-ranked players like Li Na. India, with over 1 billion people, has minimal tennis presence, despite badminton and cricket success, demonstrating sporting interest exists. Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam all contain populations where tennis remains luxury sport rather than accessible activity. Eala's success story provides replicable blueprint. Identify exceptional talent early, provide comprehensive support rather than fragmented assistance, leverage international partnerships for knowledge transfer, and create narratives that inspire broader participation. Commercial opportunities for tennis in Asia dwarf current market penetration. Broadcasters seeking content for growing middle-class audiences would pay substantially higher rights fees if Asian stars competed regularly in late Grand Slam rounds. Equipment manufacturers could access markets currently dominated by other sports. Tournament organizers could justify Asian tour events with higher prize money if regional stars attracted television audiences. The business case for investing in Asian tennis development becomes compelling once champions emerge to drive viewership and participation. Federer's strategy recognizes that tennis's long-term health requires global expansion. The sport cannot sustain itself by recycling talent from the same nations decade after decade while ignoring potential in billions of people across continents. By investing in Eala, Federer isn't just helping one athlete, he's demonstrating proof of concept that could inspire systematic change in how tennis identifies and develops talent worldwide. If she succeeds, the model becomes replicable. If others follow Federer's example with athletes from currently underrepresented nations, tennis could undergo demographic transformation within a generation. The pressure this puts on Eala creates challenges that money and facilities alone cannot solve. Roger Federer's gift transforms Alex Eala's career trajectory, but it simultaneously burdens her with expectations that could crush development if mismanaged. Suddenly, she's not just another promising player grinding through challenger events and first-round Grand Slam exits. She's the recipient of unprecedented support from tennis's greatest champion, representing an entire nation's hopes and carrying the responsibility of validating Federer's investment vision. Understanding the psychological complexity of this position reveals why many athletes struggle after receiving transformative opportunities that should theoretically only help. National expectations from the Philippines intensified immediately. Eala already carried the weight of being her country's first Grand Slam title winner at any level. Now she embodies possibility that Filipino tennis can compete globally at the highest echelon. Every match becomes news in Manila. Every loss generates disappointed analysis about whether she's maximizing the opportunity Federer provided. Every victory produces euphoric celebration, but also elevated expectations for the next tournament. This pressure differs fundamentally from competitors who develop in relative anonymity. Eala competes with an entire nation emotionally invested in each outcome. The Federer Association creates implicit comparison that could prove psychologically damaging. Tennis fans will inevitably measure Eala's development trajectory against benchmarks from Federer's career, even though such comparisons make no logical sense given different eras, playing styles, and career contexts. If she doesn't achieve top 50 ranking within 18 months or top 20 within 3 years, external voices will question whether the investment was justified, whether Federer misjudged her potential, whether she's working hard enough to honor the opportunity provided. These narratives can infiltrate an athlete's psychology, creating doubt that undermines